My favorite grips on a pair of pliers are these from Snap-on because they look great, they feel good, and they're super durable. But not all my pliers are Snap-on, and not all of my tools have grips on them. So I've got a solution made by Plasti-dip that is DIY-able, and it looks awesome. It's not the same thing that you're used to. This is a create your own color. It comes in clear and you make it the color that you want. But I've got a couple of other things up my sleeve, so let's go over to the bench and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. I think you're really gonna like this. Look at these Knipex pliers. It's got something that's very similar to what Plasti-dip looks like. It's got a smooth, shiny texture to it. It covers those grips and it does a pretty good job. But if you look at what Snap-on does, this is a pair of Snap-on pliers. See that texture on there? This is what they've been doing on all their newer pliers, and I like the feel of these grips much better than just the plain shiny grip like this on the Knipex. So to get something like this, I don't know what Snap-on does to get that texture in there, but I went to Home Depot and I bought some texture additive. You can put this into paint and get sort of a sandy texture. So I'm going to be adding this to the Plasti-dip. I went out onto Amazon and I bought this. This is just a regular pigment. You can put it into paint or makeup, whatever you want. It's just a basic pigment powder, but this has something different. Other than being orange, which is awesome, let's turn off the lights and see what that looks like. I've got my flashlight. I'm just gonna turn it on here. I'm gonna leave it on there for just a second, and I think you know where I'm going with this. Let's see what it looks like. Just a second. All right, let's take it off. Yes, awesome. All right, so this has the texture in it. I've marked that. Now I've got another one that's just clear, no texture, and we've got some more pigment. We're gonna put this in to this one, and this will be our top coat. I took out a little bit. About halfway full. I want to do that so I can make sure I've got enough pigment. I'm not really sure how much I'm going to need. There we go. 2 ounces in. Kind of has spots where it looks not as orange as it could be. So let's go ahead and drop that other 2 ounces in there. Oh yeah, that should be good. Let's stir that up and see what happens. Pretty awesome. All right, we've got my favorite tool. I just bought this trim tool and I use it constantly, but no handle on it. Let's get some texture on there for stage 1. Been sitting a bit, so let me just go ahead and stir it up. Here's what it looks like so far. Those holes are covered up, so that's something. And this color here is very see-through because the original dip doesn't have a lot of pigment in it, just this sand. So let's go ahead and get this in here. I went back and read the instructions. It says pull it out 1 inch every 5 seconds. And I think part of that is that the skin that's inside of the jar, the skin of the material, will kind of pull the excess material off of your tool so it doesn't get too thick and runny. So I'm going to try and do that. I don't know if that's 5 seconds for every inch or not. Maybe I can go back and check that in edit, but it's pretty close. Okay, it's back on the magnet here. I've got a few other tools that I'm going to be doing so you can see what those look like also. We're not quite there yet. We can still kind of see through it. It's a little bit transparent. Got something going on here. There's some bubbles in it. So let's go ahead and dip it one more time. We'll do that. We'll call it stage 3. So that looks pretty good. I like that bright orange color. It's not as transparent as the first coat. Let's hang this up to dry. This might be the ticket here. All right, check out the before and after on these tools. I really like how they turned out. I like that color, and the glow in the dark is awesome. I even did a little bit here on this 1/4" ratchet. It looks pretty good, but I'd say the grip is kind of useless. I really like the way this feels. It doesn't have that slick texture like these Knipex, the vinyl grips on there. It's not quite the same as this Snap-on. The Snap-on does feel better. It's got more of a cushy grip to it, and it looks better. But for a homemade job like this, I think that looks awesome. All right, I've turned my shop lights off for this. I just lost my tool in this engine bay. There's no light in there. Check that out. That's where it's at, right there underneath the intake manifold. Glowing like a glow stick. You can see it from way back here. Look at that. That is so cool. No more lost tools. Well, that is a pretty fun project for a slower weekend like this one. And I took about 2 hours in between each coat, and then I let it dry overnight to get the results that I've got here, which I think are pretty good. I like the turnout. But if you try it yourself and you don't like the way it turned out, you can go ahead and pull this off really easy. It just peels off like a sock. So Plasti-dip's good for that. If you'd like to see the products that I purchased for this, you can go down in the description. I've got Amazon links for everything there. Now, if you'd like to see my first video, it's actually about this pair of pliers. It's a little cringy, but it's fun. Click right over there and you can watch that.